Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We all want certain things in life. We all feel that we deserve certain things in life. You may have heard that there's this thing called manifestation where you can think it and it becomes your reality. Does this really work? We're going to ask somebody who coaches people with that. I truly believe in it. It's work in progress. I think I'm doing some of the principles involved. Maybe I'm missing the mark. Um, I'll share later about that. But I'd love to get into all of this with her. She is a law of assumption coach and founder of Dear Beautiful Soul. And she's Susan Carabello, and she joins us today. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me today.
Oh, great to have you here. And this is one of my favorite subjects to talk about, manifesting, because I've heard from people I trust that it's worked for them. And I manifest, but I wonder why I'm not seeing all of these things show up in the time I think they should show up in. And I'm sure you've heard this a million times from people that you talk to, right?
Yes, all the time. Yeah, we all kind of want something right now. It's we want to, we have a desire, we have a goal, but there is a journey to get to each and every one of those things. But I also tell people that if there's no blocks within your energy to receiving what you desire, you could have $1 million as easily as you could a cup of coffee. It's literally just aligning your energy to that reality. But it's overcoming a belief within us that we maybe energetically blocking ourselves from receiving it. And that's all it is.
Let's start with abundance. So
Sure.
you feel that, yes, I'm ready. I deserve the $1 million. And maybe you've used the manifestation principles, but the money hasn't shown up.
Right.
There may be some reasons for that. We'll get to that in a moment.
Sure.
But why doesn't even a $500,000 show up or a $250,000 instead of the said mill? Same thing manifesting who you think should be in your life. All right, well, I'll take this. I love this person. But I'll take this person for now, as opposed to somebody over here totally does not support or serve me or whoever you are.
Right.
How come those things don't show up?
It's literally just an energy within ourselves. So, for example, when it comes to money, if you have a story tied to money or tied to an experience around money, it's very not, I don't want to say difficult. You have to clear that energy. You have to release the energy of resistance around money. So, for example, I grew up back in the 80s, money didn't grow on trees. You had to get a job, all the good stuff.
Sure.
So for me, like my idea of making money is I have to hustle, right? I have to earn it. I have to work hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. If I get money, it has to go into the bank. But money, like everything else, is energy, and energy has to flow. So money comes in, money goes out, right? But what happens is if we continually tell our story that, money doesn't grow on trees, I got to save it all. What are you doing? The money's being blocked. That flow or that energy is being blocked from it coming into your experience.
Yep.
So what we do is we teach people how to release that story, right? Like, write it out, release the story from your energy, because that's all it is. It's just a story that's in your energy field that you're holding on to, which is just blocking you from receiving that abundance. So I did it for myself just recently. I manifested a decent sum of money into my business back at the beginning of the year using this exact technique, which is just writing everything out and releasing what story I have. And it you don't even realize it's a story. It's just something that you repeatedly tell yourself, that money doesn't grow on trees. I have to work hard. I have to put in 80 hours a week, whatever the story is. And the more you tell yourself that story, the more you create that story for yourself. So then, case in point, like, why is it so hard for me to manifest, $250,000? My first question is, what story do you have around money? Is always the first question out.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. And what you shared, money doesn't grow on trees, if you're from around that generation,
Yeah,
what parent hasn't said that?
exactly.
And that comes from their parents and
Mhm.
their parents who,
Yeah,
the Great Depression, where you were very careful about money. And
yeah,
I have a friend, single mom. She's a wonderful connector, does so much charity work. She's like a free spirit. And I know that she has a block about money. And she's always
yeah.
saying, I got to get my Jeep fixed. My Jeep's like 15 years old. And I don't know if I'm going to have money for that. Blah, 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 blah. But I know, knowing her, that she was told that story, money doesn't grow on trees. Then
Yeah.
her ex did the same exact thing. Why
Mhm.
watching the money? What are you doing? What are you doing? Not that she spent a lot, but
Right.
there was a clampdown on there. And I believe that's the story that's stuck in her head. And
Right.
that doesn't move her along in terms of abundance. So do you
Right.
believe, Susan, that we all have a story that's blocking whatever we want in life?
Yes. And it's easy to clear. It's remember that we are just taking the stories that we've heard and just projecting them out, right? So here we are, we're a projector, a film projector here. And in our body, we have our stories, which we project out onto the world.
Hmm.
So if my story is that, I use my example of my Honda Civic. I think Hondas are the best cars on the road. I will drive any other car and I will always go back and be like, God, this is a gas guzzler. This one is a lemon, whatever the story is. In my mind, it doesn't drive as good as a Honda. So going back to money, if you have a story that you need to save all your money, that you have to take all the money that you make, you have to save all of it, you need to only spend 10%, you're basically holding the purse strings so tight that you're not experiencing the abundance to allow it in because you're receiving it, but you're not giving it away, which is again an energy in turn. Like you're not spending it, you're keeping it safe. Like you said, back in the Great Depression, you saved everything. People, saved their money in their mattresses. They didn't put them in banks because it was safer to keep it in the house and to,
Hmm.
put it
Hmm.
someplace where it might make a little bit of money for you. But yes, it's just a matter of clearing it, but then it's going back to that story each and every time you get triggered by it and saying, no, we're safe now. It's okay for me to release the reins and I can spend my money and allow and receive. Like that's also another part of it, is being open and receptive to that abundance. If you're not used to receiving that abundance, um, it's it's very what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very
Challenging.
thin veil, right? It's there, but it's almost like you put a little mask up a little bit,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that money can't come in fully and completely as you would like.
Yeah. So it's my understanding there's got to be a flow. So there's got to
Mm-hmm.
be an energy flow. That doesn't mean
Exactly.
I was going to blow wads of cash right now because I manifested and I've got more coming. No, it's not
Right.
that. But I will tell you, I did an energy session with somebody early this year. And
Mm-hmm.
she says, I'm going to do it for free, no problem, as a friend, blah, blah, blah. But she said, send me $1, Zell me $1.
Yeah. It's an energy exchange.
Right. And she said, did you send that dollar? Like, no, not that I'm not going to. I got to get it. She goes, you need to send that dollar because there has to be an exchange. She can't do something for
Right.
nothing. There has to be that continual flow.
Yeah.
Now, to illustrate manifestation and how it works, I've spoken to people who I don't know them super well, but I trust what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a life coach. Both of them, actually, both life coaches. And one wanted a high-end Tesla. She didn't have the money for it. I think she is, was she right around 40, upper 30, something like that.
Yeah.
Didn't have the money for it. She manifested it. In 6 months, she bought it cash.
Okay. Yeah. It's
Then
it's
somebody
it's
else
possible.
who was in a bad relationship with her husband, he passed away. She was kind of relieved because it just was not a good scene
Mm-hmm.
with him.
Yeah.
Tragic he passed away, but she then manifested somebody else, wrote it down, put it underneath her mattress. A week later, he showed up in her life and everything
Yeah.
was wonderful. And Like, really? She goes, yeah, it actually worked.
You speak it into existence is
Yeah.
what happens. I I do it often with myself. I did it with my dog I did it with my dog just in the last like week. Um, and it's, these little things like you speak them into existence. We don't think that our words have any power, but they really, really do. And it's being intentional. Like, so you need to be clear when you're setting your intentions, or what we call affirming for a desire. You need to be intentional. You need to be specific, and you need to be clear on exactly what you want. Because if it's not exactly what you want, you're going to get hot and cold. So you're going to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and nothing is going to really, it's not going to make you happy. It's, you need to be very specific on the goal that you're looking to achieve.
Hmm. So, what are some of the principles that we need to remember if we want to properly manifest?
Sure. So the first thing I will start with is that you manifest in each and every moment, whether good or bad, right? So if you are in a low vibrational state and you're complaining about work, complaining about your job, complaining about money, your friends, whatever, just realize that you are telling the universe, please give me more of this. So if you're complaining that, like, I don't like my job, I don't like getting up to go to work, there's too much to do, et cetera, and that's the vibration or energy that you're in, that's what you're projecting out onto the world. And you're telling the universe a direct signal, please give me more of this. So people wonder why they can't get out of those states of being where, they want to manifest the Tesla or the home or the $10,000 a month salary. But if they are still in that vibrational state that it's like, oh, this is so hard, there's so much work, et cetera, you're not aligning yourself with a version of you that is abundant, that can manifest that $10,000 a month salary, that can manifest that Tesla within 6 months. It's literally controlling your mind and aligning your emotions with exactly what you desire in this life.
Is it sort of like the process of fake it till you make it? Like you're in a job or you want a certain job and you just dress the part, you act like like even if you're in a position that I'm not really crazy about this job, but I'm going to act like I have a great job. Just walk the walk, talk the talk. Is it you just have to, I don't want to say convince yourself, but believe that yeah, it's here. Yeah, I got it.
It's yes and no. So it's two ways. Like, if you fake it until you make it, you really, if you're going that route, you need to embody that state of being of somebody who has exactly what you desire, whether it's the job, the relationship, the car, the home, the vacations, the yachts, the whatever. You really need to embody that state of being, but being true to who you are. That is the key, because you can't fool the universe. The universe knows whether or not you're BSing them and just putting it on the outside and not doing the work inside to actually embody that state of being. What I always recommend is to sit with those stories, as I mentioned, like the story of, money doesn't grow on trees. Sit with that and release it. Because then what happens is you don't have to fake it till you make it. You actually step into the version of yourself who you were meant to be in this lifetime. It's actually, instead of faking it till you make it, you're actually remembering who you truly are, which is a beautiful, powerful human being who has the right, like everybody else, to be loved, to be abundant, and to be successful.
I guess I'll clarify that when I said fake it till you make it. I didn't mean it in that way. I meant
Yeah.
believe, truly believe that it's coming your way.
Yes.
It's there.
It's there. If you have that desire in your soul and it's not going anywhere, you're meant to experience that in this lifetime. A lot of people, question, like, well, is this really meant for me? I'm like, if it is in your soul's blueprint and it's really tugging at your soul, you're meant to experience it. And it's your job to figure out the way to get there. And a lot of times we need to learn how to trust ourselves and trust that inner knowing within us that will take us to that next level, to take us to that goal that we're looking to achieve. But a lot of it's learning about who we are and enjoying the journey along the way to whatever that goal is. The journey is the best part, right? Because you become who you're supposed to be in this world, in this life.
I feel so this is sort of my proof on how this works in reverse
Sure.
engineered.
Yes.
Was in a relationship and I would tell myself later in the relationship what I thought my role was. Like, and I had no reason to believe that. I would
Mhm.
just think like, this is all I am, blah, 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 blah. I'd be mowing the lawn. This is what I am. They're like, this is whether it was true or not, it turned out to be that's what I was. So if
Right.
maybe I manifested it, or it just became that way, I kind of think that I was thinking it and it eventually became that. And there might have
Mm.
been circumstances around it to make me believe it, but I could also
Right.
manifested in a different direction
Hmm.
of what I wanted it to be.
Right.
But to
Yes.
me, that was
I.
kind of the initial proof of the reverse engineered, like backfired in terms of,
Mm.
thinking it and it becomes your reality. Is it okay? So I'm sure you get this a lot. Somebody says, I want somebody authentic to show up in my life that is going to be potentially my life partner that loves me for who I am and all of
Mhm.
that. I'm sure that's probably one and two is money in that you get from
Yes.
people.
Absolutely.
I figured that. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
You can manifest a specific person if that's what you desire. But the
Okay.
one thing I always tell people is
Mhm.
check with yourself. Is this in your soul's blueprint? Is this really what you desire in your life?
Mm.
I use the example like you're trying to manifest Brad Pitt or George Clooney, right? So you have these two people in front of you. You can manifest both of them into your experience if that's what you desire. But what is your soul telling you? Like, yes, you can have Brad Pitt, but is that really what your soul wants? Or is your soul telling you that really George Clooney is the person that's meant for you? And I'm just using these as examples.
Yeah, sure.
But you have to trust what's in your heart and in your soul and become the person that you are meant to be. The one, because when you're looking for a soulmate, that one true love in your life, you need to be that for yourself before that person can come into your life. You need to love yourself fully and completely.
Yep.
You need to show up for yourself. You need to have those healthy boundaries. You need to work, I don't want to say work on yourself, but work on your limits that are holding you back from receiving that love.
Sure.
Let go of the stories of all the breakups you may have had and all the times you were hurt in relationships. You need to let that stuff go and start giving yourself that love that you're expecting to receive from another person. And instead of searching for them, they actually are drawn to you because
Yeah.
you become the energetic match to your soulmate. They come into you because you have done the work to call them in. So it's not like you're chasing it down. You're actually becoming that energetic match to it. But it's
Yeah.
it's listening to what's in here. It's listening to your soul. Like, does this feel good in here? Does my soul feel peaceful? Does my soul feel calm? Do I feel relieved and relaxed, or do I feel chaotic and nervous, unsettled?
Mm.
That's how you can tell whether or not it's the right thing for you.
Like they say, and you said it, you need to love yourself before you can love
Mhm.
somebody else.
Yes, exactly.
It sounds like a cliche. It's cheesy. I get it, but it's true. And
It is.
when you figure it out and you finally feel that for yourself,
Hmm.
number one, game changer. And it's almost as if this is how I equate it in my crazy mind that you should be walking on a cloud before
Hmm.
you're walking on a cloud. What do I mean by that?
Yeah,
You should be happy with yourself,
exactly.
life in general, just it's good. Man, I'm good. I'm just like, yeah, this is all right. Nothing rocks me anymore. I'm not worried about things anymore. Relationships, blah, blah, blah. You're walking on that cloud of life,
Hmm.
and then somebody shows up, and then you're walking on the cloud with them.
1,000%. That's a great analogy because what we need to do is we need to learn to how can we fill up our cup? What are we enjoying in our life? Are we enjoying our job? Are we enjoying time with friends? Are we enjoying time with our families? Are we taking time to spend with our families, with our friends? Are we learning about our hobbies? Are we learning about the things that we love? Are we growing not only physically and emotionally, are we growing spiritually? Are we growing mentally? Are we reading books? Are we working to develop ourselves, not only on a career path, but as a person? How are we showing up for ourselves with those healthy boundaries is a perfect example. Like, can you say no when something doesn't feel good to you and stand
Mm,
firm, and not because it's unloving, but it's because it doesn't align with who you are, and being okay with it.
yeah.
Sometimes we abandon the pole, for example, right? We abandon what is important to us for others, and it's not right or wrong. It's sometimes it happens, but it's always coming back to, does this feel good for me? Yes or no? And that's it. And that's a simple act of self-love. And that's the way I teach people how to actually call in a specific person. Like, their specific person is going to be a mirror reflection of who they are in here, on how they love themselves. Do they show up for themselves? Do they do things that make them happy and smile? Because then what happens is you attract a partner that's an equal,
Yep.
right? So they're not up here, you're not down here. It's not you up here or them down here. It's literally just an energetic match, perfect match where you can walk through life together. And it's perfect, it's wonderful, and it's
Mm,
magical. And I love seeing it happen.
mm. That's got to make you feel good.
Yes.
Mm. It's it's almost as if that you once you get to that point where you love yourself, and I know for some that's like sounds like you have an ego, but that's not what we're talking about here at
No.
all. You're more selective. I'm not going to settle for that. No, that doesn't work. Just what you said.
Yeah.
You just know that's not right.
Yeah.
I I we're almost out of time. I want to go into this being specific because I manifested somebody.
Okay.
They showed up. Everything great. Like, bam, check that box. Bam, bam,
Mhm.
bam, right down the line, except for one part and essential part, and that I wasn't specific enough.
Okay.
Wasn't specific enough. So I don't know you know, how specific you need to be. I've been told, from others that talk about manifestation,
Mhm.
don't go into, detail. Leave out eye color, leave out hair color. You may think you want that, but that might not be what's best for you. What are your thoughts on even that point?
It's again goes back to trusting what's in your soul. And I heard a quote today that was mind blowing, changing. When you, if I'm going to step back, I want to make sure I get it correct. When you override that inner knowing, you override that inner knowing with fear. You never can surrender to the present moment. You can never surrender to the present moment if you override that inner knowing with fear. So, what I mean, or this quote, the way I took it was that if you know in your heart that someone is specific and meant for you, and you're overriding it with all the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the frustrations, the jealousies, the whatever else, you're actually energetically blocking that person from coming in.
Sure.
So when it comes to calling in your specific person, right? So you don't have to be specific about eye color, hair color. You are going to know whether or not that person is your person, period. Like, it's going to be literally a feeling within your gut, within your soul, and be like, that's my person. I
Mm.
don't know why, but I know that I'm going to spend my time with this person. And that's all you need to know. And then it's really not up to you to do anything, but then get on with your life, enjoy your life, and just allow God, the universe, source, whatever you believe in, to bring that into your experience. Like, that's it.
Beautifully said. I
Thank
gotta,
you.
I gotta tell you, I've done podcasts about manifestation before.
Mhm.
I can't even give you a number. I don't really know. You are the most grounded, clear, to the point, and inspirational around
Well,
that
thank you.
subject that I've ever heard.
Thank
Forget
you.
the, forget
I'm very passionate about it.
you are,
I could go on for hours.
and then add that word to it. It's like, it's almost as if, the book that's sitting on my coffee table, forget it. I don't need to read it now. I got you.
For a few more weeks too.
Yeah. And there's so much involved. Like the book I'm referring to, Nikolai Tesla,
Yes.
not the car, but the car was named after,
Mhm.
genius scientist, invented the electric,
Yes.
he's the one that did it actually, and not Edison. Um, Also the motor, everything. It
Mhm.
all came from manifestation. And he has a principle, 369. Everything was divisible by three.
Mhm.
And I can't even explain it because I haven't gotten into the book, but that's the principle that worked for him. Now he
Yeah.
had some like real quirks about him as well. He was kind of obsessive, from what I understand.
Mhm.
But hundreds of patents, and it was all because he manifested. He manifested electricity. Bam, here
Yeah.
it is. Um, but I love your presentation of it. And I believe it. It works. You got to make it work for you though, and get
Well,
rid of
and
the
that's
blocks.
it. So when I coach my clients, it's not me doing the work. It's explaining to them how it works and them taking what I've learned over my years of self-development and actually just applying it to their own lives.
Right.
They're really doing the work, but it comes down to, can you trust yourself?
Hmm.
Period. Can you trust yourself in every moment, in every decision that you make, good or bad? Can you still go back to who you are? Yes or no? And when you get to that point where you can go back to that inner knowing that, yep, regardless of what happens, I know what's going on in my world and I'm good.
Mm.
Just keep going back to it. And it just becomes a practice at that
It-
point.
And you have faith in yourself that when you
Mhm.
get the feeling, I've said this a ton of times. This is how I roll in my journey. All I need is within me now.
Yeah.
You got it
Mhm.
all. We know the answer. Well, I get choice A or B. I'm not really sure. You have to listen. You have to
Yeah.
call from within. And
That's it.
and
That's
when
it. I
and it's a beautiful feeling though when you finally realize it. Nah, yeah, stuff gets in the way. Your head gets in the way sometimes. I
yeah.
get that, but
But no, it's your plan's already mapped out for you. Like creation's already done. And I did my yoga teacher training about a year and a half ago in Costa Rica. And the last day, they actually said that your plan is mapped out for you. Source, universe, God has plan A for you. You're gonna want plan B, right? Plan B is all this other stuff over here. It's gonna, you can go take plan B. You're still getting plan A. You can take that road over there for a little while, but you're still
yes,
gonna, but you're
yeah.
getting plan A. So
Uh,
just accept that you're getting plan A and get on with your life.
it's like the game show. Door number one, door number two. I want door number two. I want to take door number
Yeah.
two. And then you waste so much time. Eventually, you're going through door number one.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get to door number one, plan A, and
Right.
that's it. Like it's learning to surrender to that inner knowing
Yeah.
that plan A is the plan that I was always meant to have, and I'm gonna just enjoy my life. And whatever's meant for me will always show up right on time when I'm open and receptive to it. So that's
So
it.
the plan is us connecting with you. How do we do that?
My Instagram is Susan Carabello _. You can also visit my website at www.suecarabello.com.
Two L's on Carabello, just letting you
Yes.
know. And wonderful talking with you today. Really
Thanks. Yes.
refreshing. Uh,
Awesome. Thank you.
I
I
don't know what you're
appreciate it.
doing with your energy, what you're grounding or whatever's going on over there, but it is inspirational and spot on. And truly looking forward next time we get together.
Awesome. I can't wait. Thank you.
Same. Thank you. We'll be right
All
back.
right. Thanks. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.